Watcher, it's Paul from Creative Warden here at Fairycroft House to welcome you to Lockdown TV. We got a great programme full of activities that you can try at home, from animation to writing poems, tips on photography, cooking, cycling, some great advice to help us stay sane throughout this lockdown from a therapist who works with young people and is based here at Fairycroft House. Also coming up is Alfie Wells and his music section, an interview with the singer who made Sam Smith famous, Johanna, and a performance from a couple of fantastic vocalists. To get us started, here's a little animation made with Lego. Remember, we want you to send in your videos and photos. Check our website for full details.
Down from the hill was a buzzing sound, the bones is a boom, boom, boom.
Charming!
Don't drink and drive.
We're going to bring you poems in each of our episodes. We have some incredibly talented writers in our area, and this is their place to show their work. So if you want to read something you've written, then send it in to Poetry Corner.
It's Poetry Corner.
Our first session will be from Sam Parker.
A tree stands alone in a barren field. Leaves flutter down from its long, outstretched branches. Grass rustles in the wind, calming the mind and ensnaring the senses. It is a place of peace, providing retreat from the constant busyness of life. The falling of the leaves, the swishing of the grass, and the sound of silence, each calm and help all to reach a state of mindfulness and content. This is a place far from life, death, and even time. This is a place that sparks imagination and lives forever. This is true happiness, being calm and content, being at peace in that barren field, always knowing that, no matter what, you can eternally seek this place of refuge under the tree.
A town is not buildings, shops and church steeples. A town is the buzz, its lifeblood's the people. A school is but nothing without children's voices, for a town that provides all of life's choices. Team players, dancers, writers and filmmakers, drums and guitars and skateboard risk takers. Some charge along, others quiet contemplation, a burning desire for their chosen vocation. Discard your consoles, your tablets and phones, and say after me, I will not be a clone, and I will do battle with ridicule and boredom, for I am the voice of young Saffron Walden.
And now it's time to do the right thing. Write a story or a poem based on your interpretation of these images. These are strange times we're living through, and we're all collectively experiencing the lockdown. We want you to write a poem, a journal, maybe a short story about your experience, your fears, your hopes, the whole shebang. All the best work submitted will appear in a special book we hope to publish when the dust settles and we all get back to living our normal lives. Also, remember to write a letter to someone you love, maybe a grandparent. It's great writing practice and means so much to those people at this time of strife. Send your stories, observations and poems to info@Creative Warden, and good luck. Now it's time to head to Jamie's kitchen and see what's cooking. Send us in your cooking videos too, remember. Take it away, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm going to show you how to make cloud eggs today.
But first, I'm going to wash my hands. First of all, we're going to crack some eggs into a bowl, but keep the egg yolk and put the egg yolk in another bowl. I'm going to use 4 eggs for this. The ingredients are 4 eggs, some butter to grease the baking tray, and just some salt and pepper. Now we're going to whisk the egg whites until there is soft peaks. Now we're going to put some nests of egg whites onto the baking tray. Making a dip in the egg whites to put the egg yolks in. Sound effects are being provided by Humphrey the dog. Now we're going to put the egg whites in the oven for around 2 minutes to create structure. This is the timer ready, so now we're going to take the egg whites out of the oven. Always use something to protect your hands, like a tea towel or oven gloves. So now the egg whites are out of the oven, we can now put the egg yolks into the nests. One of the egg yolks is broken, but that's okay, it just won't be runny. Now we can put the cloud eggs into the oven for around 6 to 8 minutes. While the eggs are cooking, put some toast on. Now we've got to butter the toast. You know you're getting close to serving when your dad hangs around the kitchen and wants to have some, even though he doesn't deserve any. Time is ready, let's just check to see if the eggs are ready. The eggs look ready, but let's test to see if... Right, the eggs are ready. Take them off the baking paper with a spatula and put on a plate to serve. You could put basil or parsley on to the eggs. Turn off the oven and enjoy. Your eggs are now ready. This recipe is really easy to make, only took around 10 minutes, and look, you have now 4 cloud eggs. Now, enjoy.
Hello, my name is Orly and I'm Count Dracula. What is a baby ghost's favourite game?
Oh, I don't know.
Peekaboo. What do you call someone that puts poison in someone's cornflakes?
Oh, I don't know.
A serial killer.
Ollie Sparks, take 2. Thanks for the jokes, Ollie. Now I think we ought to visit the bookshelf. A while ago, we were delighted to have the children's author J.S. Lander visit us at Writer's Room. Her book, The Mirror of Pharos, is a beautifully written tale of adventure, full of magic, full of wolves and birds and lighthouses. If you liked early Harry Potter books, you'll love this. Here's an extract of the interview I did with the author at Fairycroft House. When did you start writing stories?
I think I was probably a storyteller even before I began writing, because as a kid I was always in the land of make-believe. You're probably all the same. I must say it's a delight to meet some young writers from Saffron Walden, and this is a fab place. I wish I'd had something similar when I was young, because I think it's nice to have your own tribe and support, because writing's quite a solitary business. Always as a kid playing make-believe, building dens, giving trees names, forcing my friends to play parts in stories that involve witches and dragons, and everyone would run off screaming. So I think writing begins as a mindset from the very beginning, and you're seeing stories in everything. It's what you notice, it's how you are. You need to be observant, you need to be noticing things all the time, and I think as we were saying, with social media and phones, there's that constant, it's like an addiction almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it now because I'm having to do all the social media, surrounding the launch of the book, and you don't give yourself the headspace to be creative. So that's why a project like this is absolutely brilliant.
And did you always want to be an author when you were sort of young? Or?
I wanted to be a storyteller. One of our school trips was to an Indian reservation, and to our surprise we met a real-life Indian chief, full headdress. He taught us how to get maple syrup from trees, he taught us how to make fires, and then he sat us around the totem pole, and we had a powwow. I can still picture it. And then he told us a story, and it was about all the animals and the faces on the totem pole. And I was just transfixed. Well, we all were. And afterwards, I just went and stood beside him. It was like hero worship, looking up at him. And there was this big wrinkled face. And he eventually looked down at me, and he could see me staring, and he kind of took my chin and he said, "Little wolf." And so he gave me like an animal totem name, which for a 7-year-old was like, oh, wow. So that's where the passion for wolves came from, and it stayed in my mind. I read everything to do with wolves from there on in. But also, I was just so amazed by this guy who could stand up and tell a story and have an audience, in the palm of his hand. And I thought, I'd love to be able to do that. But coming out of university, yes, I could write, I'd edited magazines and things, but it wasn't a job you went into then. I think it's perhaps, more acceptable now. So I was always reading as I grew up, and English was my favourite subject at school. I loved all the analysis of the literature, and I basically thought that was the only thing I was any good at. I think it's when you love something, you just sort of follow that path. Yeah, went to a good university, King's College in London. I had loved the course. It was very, very challenging. In those days, there was no assessment you had to do. Your finals were all in 1 week, so back-to-back exams about literature from medieval times right through to 20th century. I think if you're a story writer or a writer of any sort, you've got to read and immerse yourself in literature, so it was a great way in.
Right, well, I think round of applause for Jenny. We at Creative Warden all love the NHS. Always have and always will. We hope you've been enjoying banging your pots and pans and clapping for all the key workers on Thursday evenings. We want to go one further. We want you to make a video on your phone or tablet nominating a local hero. It could be someone in your family who works as a nurse, a doctor, delivery driver, shop assistant, police officer, even a teacher. Nominate your local hero. Once you've made the video, check with your parents it's okay to send, and if you can, include a photo of your hero. Let's sing their names from the rooftops. The lockdown has caused a lot of anxiety, particularly amongst young people. I have to say that young folk of our area have done us proud. I haven't seen any congregations in the town, the parks and playgrounds are empty, and everyone is following the rules. So well done. Please continue this, but remember the government does recommend getting one session of outdoor exercise each day. It's good for your health, so don't neglect it. Just please only do it with people who live under your roof. On that note, here's Roy with tips to get you on your bike safely this spring.
Get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with Roy.
Hello, I'm Roy Mason from Creative Warden, and today I'm going to be making a short video about basic bike maintenance and the things to check before you go out on your bike for the first time, especially if you're looking to get some exercise throughout the Easter break and beyond.
Get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with Roy.
If you do need to put some air in the tyre, the first thing you're going to need is a pump, such as this one, that has the correct fitting for the valve of your tyre. To see which type of valve you have, you first need to unscrew the cap, making sure you keep it safe so you don't lose it. You'll need it later. And you'll see this one has a needle valve that, again, you need to be able to unscrew in order to be able to put air into the tyre. You need to unscrew it so it's fully extended. So once you've inflated the tyre to the correct pressure, and you'll need a gauge to check, take the pump off. And you'll need to tighten up the needle valve as tight as you can, and then replace the cap.
Remember, it's not all books and bicycling. Every episode we're going to have a weird and wacky challenge that anyone can do. This episode, how many keepy ups you can do with the toilet roll. Whoa. Well, I'm sure you can do better than that, so please send your videos to info@creativewarden.co.uk and we'll show the best ones next episode.
We are very fortunate at Fairycroft House to introduce you to Natalie Easthope, who has been a counsellor dealing with young people for many years. Please watch this following film, which is some great advice about how to deal with the extraordinary circumstances we all find ourselves in.
Hi, my name's Natalie and I'm a therapeutic counsellor. I work mainly with teens and young adults. I've been asked a lot over the last few weeks about any coping tips throughout this COVID-19 pandemic, and I'd like to share with you a few of my top tips. So firstly, routine. Everyone's normal routine has gone out of the window, and it's important for us all to find a new normal. Having a timetable to structure your day by will help to bring normality and structure back into everyday life. This could be anything from getting washed and dressed to making a time within your day to contact a particular friend. This will be especially important during the school holidays when there isn't the school timetable to work from. Communication sounds obvious, but many people find communicating with others hard or uncomfortable, especially when they're feeling low or anxious. Take time to communicate with people you trust, who help you feel better. Ask the questions that are worrying you, no matter how small, and the insignificant you think they might be. I can assure you, you won't be the only person wondering the same. Limit your contact with those who drain your energy and your resources until you feel that you have an excess supply of energy in order to be able to cope with them. Helping others. It's true what they say, that helping others helps yourself. We are all social beings who want to connect. Whilst you may not be able to see a friend or family member face to face, why not make them something to give them when we're all allowed out again? Or write a letter to someone who is on their own. At home, how about making a hot drink or dinner for your family? Work together as a team to make home life easier for all of you. Learn how to do the washing, help with the meal planning or gardening. These may sound like dull things to do, but actually they're all important life skills to develop. Enjoyment. If ever there was a time to do something you enjoy, it's now. Yes, there may be things that you can't do during lockdown, but there are many that you can. For example, reading a favourite or brand new book, listening to music or watching some of the live music online, writing a diary or a journal, drawing, sewing, gaming. The list is just endless. Developing a new skill leads to a sense of achievement and pleasure, both of which are really important to a balanced well-being. If you're still feeling that your worries are weighing you down or you're having trouble getting to sleep, how about trying some mindfulness? These are my two favourite techniques. Firstly, breathing. We all do it, but how often do we actually focus on our breathing and notice how we are breathing? I imagine hardly ever. Start by simply noticing your breath. How deep is it? How fast are you breathing? Are you breathing through your nose or through your mouth? When you feel ready, take in a breath through your nose for the count of 4. Holding it for a count of 7, and then releasing the breath through your mouth for a count of 8. So ideally, sort of continue the process until you're feeling a bit more relaxed. You may notice that your mind starts to wander, or you suddenly start thinking of things, and this is fine and totally normal. Just acknowledge what's happening and bring your focus and your attention back to your breath. The more you practice, the less this will happen. You can do this breathing technique anywhere, at any time, and people don't have to know that you're doing it.
Right, a big shout out to Grace, who was 13 recently. You might recognise her, pictured here on the right, with her best friend Jean. They both work at the school farm and help to produce a fantastic Christmas show there. Anyway, happy birthday, Grace, if you'd like to do the honours. This is an appeal to all you film lovers. Send in your reviews, old, new, indie, mainstream. Let us know what you love watching. Here's a few of my favourites. Number 1, Hunt for the Wilder People. Probably my all-time favourite film. It's funny, sad, happy, poignant. It's got the lot. Made by the same people who gave us the excellent Jojo Rabbit.
Back up, homies, and let go of my uncle! So what do we do now?
We run. No, we don't need to run.
Huh? Oh yeah, this is fast walk.
Tim Burton's Big Fish, starring Ewan McGregor, is another fave. A really imaginative story. A real visual treat. I don't think there's another film out there like it.
Discover an adventure as big as life itself.
In telling the story of my father's life,
Bravo Company, go!
doesn't always make sense, but that's what kind of story this is.
Big Fish.
that slips under a lot of people's radars. Son of Rambo, about two boys who attempt to make an adventure film of their own by rounding up half the school, visiting French exchange students and a plastic dog.
It was better when it was just us two.
Son of Rambo, take one. Click.
Action! I've come to save you, Rambo! Hold on! Ready?
Let's make the movie!
Hurry up, people! We're losing light!
One of the most fun films I worked on was a movie called Stardust, a tale of witches and magic that has passed the test of time. It's often on the telly, so check it out.
You've seen stories of magical worlds, wicked witches, flying pirates, and dashing princes. But never has there been an adventure quite like this.
Everyone's talking about fallen stars.
When I find her, the glory of our youth shall be restored.
This is the part where you tell me who you are and why you're up here.
We're just trying to make our way home.
Touché.
You better be telling the truth, you two-faced dog.
I can get you one of them, actually. Very good guard dogs. They can watch the back and the front door at the same time.
Enough.
Lastly, Creative Warden's Zombie Occupation. The full film has been released on our YouTube channel. It was a great experience working with the young folk of Uttlesford on that one. Here's part one of the making of film.
Murder the Queen? How do you know what they're saying?
I did Latin, didn't I? Whatever language they're speaking, it sounds a bit like that.
Zombie Occupation is about a group of 6 kids who have to try and save their town from the zombies who are trying to take over the country, basically.
The preparations I had to do before filming, I had to learn lines quite a lot, kind of build my role, think about my character, and then getting into the character, letting the world out and just concentrating on one thing.
I found out about it, my cousin got the flyer, and I found out about the film the day before the makeup workshop. And so my mum kind of emailed the director and he said, oh yeah, you can come along. So I went along to the makeup course and that was really good. And I spoke to the director and he said, look, we've got another part if you want to fill that in. And I did. We went for the rehearsal on that Sunday, so like 2 days after. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I liked filming the scene where I did Ethan's makeup. That was a very, very good scene.
The Queen doesn't call anyone slaves.
Well, I don't know, do I?
Just keep them occupied.
I love corgis. Do you like corgis?
My least favourite thing was wearing the dress 100%, just because I felt like I'd lost my manhood.
My film experience was pretty awesome, yeah. It's got to be on camera and do everything that I wanted.
I most enjoyed the kind of atmosphere between everyone and everyone enjoying it.
It's me, Mike Rigby.
What are you trying to do?
I didn't like one scene where I had to scream like a little girl, which hurt my throat.
Kind of running around Saffron Walden, that was quite fun to film.
The thing I least enjoyed about filming was when I had to throw up. I had to do that scene like 4 or 5 times.
My least favourite thing about filming, probably not enough filming, to be honest, because I enjoyed it too much.
I started doing special effects makeup about a year ago, and then at Christmas I was bought a proper special effects kit, and I started getting into more into the liquid latex and stuff like that. And then doing it for the film, I really enjoyed it because I'd never used that kind of product before, so it was a learning experience.
I like writing because you can easily write whatever you want, let your mind go wild, even if it's not realistic or only you understand it. It's quite nice seeing something that you've suggested or written down come to life.
I made lots of friends and we all had a really good time and just laughed the whole time.
Well, the thing that surprised me the most is that the hours that we had to do, because it takes so long to do these scenes, and sometimes it messes up or there's something behind that bothers the whole audio.
You'd do one scene but you'd have different takes from different angles, and I had to take a cross out of my pocket, and we literally did a take of me literally just taking the cross out of my pocket. We didn't do any of the other scene just for that one take.
So I'd like to pursue acting, drama and singing in the future.
The experiences I've had during making the film would help me if I decided to make some kind of a film myself.
This will be really helpful for my future in acting.
If you want to get into a drama school or something, then you've got a very good thing to put on your CV.
Excuse me a second.
Paul?
Yeah?
What's on your table?
I thought you'd never ask. Well, today's table consists of my brother's Blue Peter badge, J.S. Lender's excellent book, and a plasticine model that I made a few years ago. And that reminds me, in the next edition, we're going to show you how to make animation with plasticine. And there's also a football signed by the Chelsea team that won the European Cup, and a model of my hand that was made by the lovely people at Saffron Walden Museum for their portrait exhibition. Now on to photography. Want to improve your photographic compositions? Of course you do. Well, you're in luck because we have a video from a guy who's normally running around the country snapping rock stars. Here's Martin Porter with his photo tips.
Good afternoon. My name is Martin. I'm a photographer for Mart's Arts Photography. I'm a specialist music photographer and a bit of nature photography on the side. I am the resident photographer for Fairycroft House, from which I'm filming right now. We are currently in COVID-19 lockdown and I'm in complete isolation. You will never see another person in this building at the moment. I am solely here to provide an information video for Warden Creative on the beginning of your endeavours as a photographer. It will be basic and it will be very short. Please bear with me. So, the basics we need to address, first of all, is your gear. This is Bertha. This is the kit I use for professional live music photography. It's very expensive, and as a beginner, I suggest you do not go down the route of using this first. When I first started out, all I used to use was a point and click camera. It's the best, perfect way of getting your art form together. When I was a youngster and when I was starting, we didn't have these. These are probably the most ideal way of getting entry-level photographs. Don't worry about live music photography first of all. What you need to do is see something around the house and practice. It sounds very basic: family, friends, flowers, your dog, anything that catches your eye. One of the most misled conceptions I personally find with photography is people want to talk about the kit. People with money, they go straight in with this. I call them all kit no clue. What you really need to do is address the most important fact and tool you can have as a photographer. Isn't this, isn't this? And people say, the eye. No, it's here. It's your imagination, your artistic streak, what you envisage in your head, and what you can create. That is the most important tool you'll ever need. Forget everybody telling you about the most expensive cameras. Forget people talking about what kit they've got. Have you got a Canon? Have you got a Sony? Have you got a Nikon? Get that in order first. That is my first lesson to you.
If you don't want to go gaga during lockdown, don't spend too much time on social media. The grumpers and the gripers are out in force complaining about anything and everything. Just have a look at this.
Hello, Phyllis Crotchety here. And I'm telling you, it's a disgrace. What are they doing? They're supposed to be social distancing, not congregating in a TV studio. I just don't get it. I mean, I was out the other day and somebody bought chocolate. Chocolate? I mean, well, I do buy biscuits for myself, but that's completely different. Anyway, why are they wasting time making films for kids? Them little whippersnappers ought to be locked in their room with bread and cheese. It's their fault we're in this mess. Or if it's not their fault, it's someone else's. And it's not mine. If more people were like me, the world would be great. And I'll tell you another thing.
We've only got one answer to that. Bore off. As you can see, it's just me in the bunker on my Jack Jones. Our sound man, Alfie Wells, is 2 stories above me in the studio. Social distancing, not a problem. You there, Alfie? Alfie, do you read me?
Paul?
Over to you, my friend.
Hi guys. A little while ago, Creative Warden ran a course called Warden Voices. This is a documentary course led by Paul Bellany here at Fairycroft House. We're very lucky to have the opportunity to interview the musical sensation that is Johanna Eden. Asking the questions is the fabulous Freddie Moy.
How did you first get into music?
My brother was having piano lessons and he wasn't enjoying them at all, and every time he'd get off the piano I'd jump straight on it and I'd be begging my mum and dad, but I was only about 4. So from then on, I finally got my piano lessons about 6 years old. My dad was a musician. I was always surrounded by music. He was in the RAF and he was a bandsman. So there was always gigs, and then he did jazz in his spare time. And so I really think it was probably my dad's influence. We always had people like Miles Davis, Ella Fitzgerald, a bit of Frank Sinatra. And then later on when I was a teenager, I remember singing along to ELO in the car. Oh, and ABBA. I loved ABBA.
When did you first really believe that you possessed some sort of musical talent?
If I write a song, often my first feeling is like, oh, that's brilliant. I sometimes even cry. I think, oh, I love that. And then about half an hour later, I'm guaranteed to think it's the worst thing I've ever done. And you just have to get over that because it still probably needs a lot of crafting. So many people, including myself, you know, after about 5 minutes of writing the song, they've had that lovely feeling and then it goes and they go, right, screw that up, throw it away and never get any further. But I've learned to ignore the negative feelings and just trust that if it moved me in the first place, then it must be good, to say.
Tell us about your first real break in the music industry.
I managed to get a meeting with the top music manager in London because I had an album that I'd done all of my own. And he basically was saying, well, I really love what you do and I'll support you, but I'm not going to sign you up. So it was like a bit disappointing. And then on the way out, my friend Neil said, the manager said, is there anything else I can do? And he said, well, you could give us a support slot at Orly End. The first year I supported Jamie Cullum. And then they rang me back and said, would you like to support the Buena Vista Social Club, who are just superstars of the jazz Latin world. I then did another couple of concerts. I supported Amara Potuando at Kenwood House, which was a massive one, and then Ronan Keating back here. So I had some really kind of, just from that one cheeky little question, I got lots of breaks, and that was really helpful.
What song that you've recorded are you most proud of, and why?
Oh gosh, it's always the last one that I'm totally in love with. That's really hard. I think whenever you ask musicians about their favourite song, it's like asking a parent to say, what's your favourite child? I was really proud when I recorded the song that I wrote with Sam Smith. My first ever album, I guess, was the biggest thing because it was the first time really in the studio. And, you know, I just suddenly felt like other people, like industry people, were getting behind me. So that was very special.
What does it feel like listening to one of your songs on the radio?
And I remember once just turning on the radio and it was Jazz FM and there was I didn't even know they were playing it. So that was really special, yeah.
Tell us about your song Father's Day.
That it was like a reassuring song to my dad to say, you know, I know that you're worried about me being a musician, that it's a bit of an insecure life. Don't worry, because the reason I know I'm going to be okay is because I'm like you.
You taught the singer Sam Smith. Are you surprised by his success?
Luck is involved, but with Sam all along, really from him being little, when he sang, people listened. He was about 9 years old and his dad said, what do you think, Joe? We think, you know, it sounds quite nice. And he was literally my first ever singing student. And I said, well, I think he's extraordinary. I think he's brilliant, but I've had maybe loads of kids that are as good as him. I don't know. But I said, he's just, sounds like he doesn't need lessons. But they managed to sort of persuade me to teach him for another sort of 10 years. He kept coming back. I knew he was amazingly talented, but I also knew that the music business can be very fickle.
What is the first thing you tell new singing students?
You can pretend to be a police siren, you can be a growling bear, you can just make silly noises. And a lot of singing is about taking a risk. And I think once people start to really play around with their voice, they find out what capabilities are. And it's often the weird, slightly freaky, odd voices are the ones that people really listen to and notice. It's not really about being technically brilliant.
What is the music scene like in Saffron Walden? And what would you like to see happen to help develop young talent in the town?
There's so much talent. I think there is something definitely in the water in this area because there's so much talent that's come out of this place and it keeps coming. The school's brilliant. There's obviously now we're lucky we've got Fairycroft House and there's a lot going on there. And I would love to see some open mic nights and songwriting workshops. I'd love to be involved in them. And I'm currently chatting to people at Fairycroft about doing that.
You released Moving Shadows, an album of jazz covers in the last few years. Do you have any plans to produce any new material?
I've got a new album which I'm working on. So I'm just at the mixing phase of doing that. I want to do a jazz ballads album. I do a musical cabaret and we've talked about actually recording some of our songs there. Because I write from silly daft songs that sound a bit papa to quite complex music, to jazzy songs as well. So yeah, I've just got so much work to do and not enough time.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Ellie.
Now, for the first performance of our musical section, we've got a couple of local singers that will absolutely blow your socks off. I've been working with them for the last few years, and this is the first ever song we recorded here at Fairycroft House. Over to Abby and Jess.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah. saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to the kitchen chair, she broke your throat and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You say I took the name in vain, I didn't even know the name, but if I did, well, really worth it to you. There's a blaze of light in every word, it doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah,
If you'd like to be featured in our music section, then please send a video of yourself in, playing or singing, at info@creativewarden.co.uk, because we want to show off all the musical talent this town has to offer. And remember, it's your guys' involvement that's going to help make Lockdown TV great. So please, send in your singing, your dancing, your playing your poems, your stories, or your film reviews. Now, to help you with that, here's a little video Paul made earlier.
Watcha, it's Paul from Creative Warden here, just with a few tips on how to make the best out of filming on your mobile phone. Firstly, speak nice and slowly and clearly. Don't rush it, you've got plenty of time. If you're filming landscape, it fills the screen. If you're doing portrait, we get these little things, the black bars, which don't look that great. Try and keep the iPhone or iPad steady while you're filming. If you have trouble with that, just ask someone to hold it for you while you do your piece. Don't do it straight off the bat. Practice your piece first, and it will be a better experience for you and the people watching. Avoid boring backgrounds and strange angles. Try and find something interesting to stand in front of. Perhaps your bedroom has some interesting posters, or your study, Or maybe you have a nice painting in your house that you can stand in front of. Or a bookshelf full of your favourite books. Mostly, have fun, do your best, share your talents, and let's get through these challenging times together. Take care and good luck. The next episode is chock-a-block with more exciting videos and features to keep you entertained. Please like and subscribe and share with all your mates. Let's get creative during this lockdown. See you next time.